bombshell doesn't seem like the right word. A crazy piece of reporting has just dropped, and it's led to calls for North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson to drop out of the race before this story even broke. People have known about it all day, and now we have it. Now we know what it says. The reporting is from CNN. It has not at this point been independently verified by NBC News, but it says that Robinson made dozens of very disturbing comments on a porn site between 2008 and 2012 before he entered politics. The comments include Robinson, the current lieutenant governor, proclaiming that he is, quote, a black Nazi, and saying he, quote, wishes they would bring slavery back. I would buy a few, end quote. CNN also reports this, quote, the comments were made under a username that CNN was able to identify as Robinson's by matching a litany of biographical details and a shared email address. Many of Robinson's comments were gratuitously sexual and lewd in nature. He reportedly describes himself as a, quote, perv, and describes peeping on women in public gym showers. Now, even ahead of the story breaking, he issued a robust denial of the story and responded this afternoon ahead of it by posting this video.
Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson. You know my words, you know my character, and you know that I have been completely transparent in this race and before. Clarence Thomas famously once said he was the victim of a high-tech lynching. Well, it looks like Mark Robinson is too, by a man who refuses to stand on stage and debate me about the real issues that face you. Instead, they want to focus on salacious tabloid lies. We're not going to let them do that. We are staying in this race. We are in it to win it.
So, lots of layers here, right? The sex stuff, which is too lewd to read to you, exceeds my skill set as a cable news anchor. But given how important North Carolina is and where the polls are right now at the top of the ticket, the national presidential level, and given how central it is to both candidates' path to the White House, it's significant, that last thing that he says there, that he's, quote, not dropping out of the race. And this isn't his first scandal, right? He's someone who says, quote, some people need killing. He's trashed the civil rights movement. And Trump describes him this way, as MLK on steroids. That's a quote. Deadline to drop out is midnight. TikTok. We're back with Cornell, Michael, and Alicia. Michael Steele, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, so this was the line. This was the line. Republicans, this answer. So this was the line you're drawing now, where the Trump campaign and the North Carolina Republican Party is like, oh, he got to go. This is the line. The porn site and the black Nazi stuff, that was the line. So the killing people wasn't a problem. All the other stuff he said before now wasn't a problem, as you embraced this man and raised him above your head and say, he is us. Well, he is you, North Carolina Republicans. This is who you nominated. You knew all this stuff about him. We got videos going back years on this boy, on this man. Give me a break. Give me a break. And so here's the rub. The numbers in North Carolina show that the Democratic nominee for president has not only spanked Donald Trump on the debate stage, but is spanking Republicans in the state of North Carolina. And that race has tightened up to the point where she now has strong leads in areas they didn't think would be possible. So that's why the GOP and the Trump campaign are now throwing this stuff up here saying he's got to go. He's got to go. So this is your line. And this is only your line because you're losing the state. Because otherwise you'd be perfectly fine with all of this, because you were fine with it before the poll numbers started going against you. Yep. That's how cynical and corrupt this process has become for Republicans.
Please don't say spank again. Cornell, let me show you, because I think, Mike, this is my question editorially all day. What could be on the tapes? Because this makes Mastriano look like a statesman, right? I mean, this makes the worst MAGA candidates of the last cycle truly look normal. Let me show you what was on the other side of the line, what did not lead to calls to resign. Here's Robinson saying, quote, some people need killing.
We now find ourselves struggling with people who have evil intents. You know, there's a time when we used to meet evil on the battlefield, and guess what we did to it? We killed it. Some liberal somewhere is going to say that sounds awful. Too bad. Get mad at me if you want to. Some folks need killing. It's time for somebody to say it.
Let me show you more. This is because this is someone importantly, back to the presidential race, that Donald Trump, let me show you what Donald Trump thinks of this man.
This is Martin Luther King on steroids. Okay, now, I told that to Mark. I said, I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King ×2.
So Donald Trump thinks this man is Martin Luther King ×2. This is what he says. I'm going to read it to you about the civil rights movement. Quote, this is Mark Robinson again. Take a look at the so-called civil rights movement of the 60s, how the socialists, how the communists use that to manipulate people in this country, how they use it to subvert capitalism, and how they use it to subvert free choice and where you go to school and things like that. You look at what they did with it. I mean, it's amazing that people can't see it. I mean, so many things were lost during the civil rights movement. So many freedoms were lost during the civil rights movement that shouldn't have been lost. You know, an absolute backward view of history, Cornell, but that wasn't on the side of the line that's been crossed today with whatever has transpired on the Pornhub.
You know, I just want to underline everything that Michael Steele said here, look, it's not hard to believe. Why is this story a stretch, right? That he called himself a black Nazi. He's been if you take him or look at everything he's already said, from killing people to attacking the civil rights movement, right? Why is this so out of place that he refers to himself as a black Nazi? I don't think it's out of place at all. I want to step back though for a moment here, because there's something when you look at candidates like this, and you go out to Arizona and look at the candidate that they had running now twice, and in Pennsylvania, these candidates that you've mentioned, you know, there is a deterioration of values and civic values happening that I want to say is certainly happening under Donald Trump, and maybe Donald Trump, you know, opened the door to. But not even being partisan here, but once upon a time, Nicole, you know, these candidates that are now being blessed and okayed by Donald Trump, they would not have had a chance in heck of being at the top of anyone's ticket in the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. And now all of a sudden you have these people who are extremists and outside of our value set and say all these crazy things about women and attack women and attack minorities and undermine our values. Now they are mainstreamed in Donald Trump's Republican Party. That it's step back from it. There's something much sadder and something much sicker happening, that now these sort of candidates are okay. Well, at least okay, and they come out of Republican primaries and they represent the Republican Party. And again, I don't even want to be partisan here, because I think it's a sickness on the American political system and our values, and that whether you're Democrat or Republican, you got to look at what's happening in our politics and say, we've got to move this in a different direction. We've got to clear America's of this sort of angry extremist cancer that is taking over certainly at least one half of our political parties.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it also argues for the need to eradicate both sidesism in talking about the two parties, right? One party is so sick that the line for maybe getting rid of someone is between, you know, the things he said about his, you know, arousal level and the kind of porn he watched on a porn site, and being a black Nazi, and talking about how some people need killing, right? The line is between those two things.
Right.
And the other one had arguably the most successful modern president, right, atop the ticket after a performance that shook Democratic leaders to the core. That party went through a public and excruciating process. He stepped down, and there's now a new person running. I mean, the health of the parties is as stark of a contrast as any two things in our country.
Right. Why are we so surprised about the things this man said in private, given the things that he was willing to say in public to a huge crowd, knowing that he was being videotaped? And part of what was so alarming about, the time he was talking about how people need killing is he wasn't entirely clear about who it was that he was talking about. It sort of ran the gambit from some biblical talk of evil, then talking about communists and socialists, and their, to your point about the comparison, should have been a question of mental acuity and wellness at that point, that there was not. But there's no willingness to engage in these hard questions. This also, to me, is a reminder of elections are fluid, right? Pennsylvania's already voting. North Carolina, people get to start early voting in about a month. Like, when we say we have this many days until Election Day is happening right now, and there is any number of variables in these states nationwide that can change the contours of all these races.
That's such a good point. Cornel, just tell me where you think the race is, sort of behind the headlines, behind the polls, between Harris and Trump in North Carolina.
I tell you this, and I have not seen North Carolina truly tied in a toss-up, even in some of the sort of our internal numbers since 2008. I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win North Carolina, and I think, yes, we're going to win North Carolina. I'm going on record. We're going to win She's going to win North Carolina.